Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, the graph shown below represents the relationship between the total cost of a rental car, C, and the number of days rented, D. There is an initial charge for car insurance. What is the initial charge? So what are they asking me to find is the initial charge, which by the way, it is the what? It is the car insurance. Very good. Okay. So I want to know how much money are we going to pay up front before any days are added to the total cost. Do we see that relationship right there? Okay. So my question is, how much money do I pay for the car insurance? And then next, how much money do I pay per day? Right? Because those two together will give me the total cost. So let's look at what else is given to me on the question. Well, in the problem, it says that there is a relationship that is given to you between the total cost, which you see, and the days that you rented. Okay? And those will actually be the points or the coordinates that you see on the graph. So let's analyze those points. The first one, which I'm going to show you right here. Can you tell me what would be the coordinates for that? Well, the coordinates for that would be 1, because it's 1 day, and 16. Is that right? What about the next one? What about this one here? Well, that one would actually be 2 and 18. What about the next one? Well, the next one is a 3 and 100, and so on and so forth. Do you see that? Okay, so the next one will be 4 and 120. And the last one that I got up here, it's 5 and 140. So my question is, do I see any pattern? Do I see any relationship between those points in terms of X and Y? Because remember, if I can find that, then maybe you can think about finding the rate of change. And rate of change is the same of slope. Very good. So let me write it down over here. So if I can find the rate of change, then that can be the slope. And remember, rate of change means how much per unit. Okay, so let's see, what do I notice about going from point 160 going to 280? Well, first of all, I'm going to look at the interval for Y, and I want to notice that I'm going by 20 units. So when I count up, don't say 1 unit. This one is actually 20 up. Very good. When I look at the X, it looks like it's 1 unit. Well, in this case, it's actually 1 because I'm counting by ones. Very good. Okay, so it looks to me that it's 20 up and 1 to the right. But what we can do is do the next points, because what I want to know is a constant. It's the same. So I'm going to go, yep, I go 1 up, which means 20 up. And I'm going to go 1 to the right. And this one is actually just 1 unit to the right. What about the next one? Well, it is 20 and 1. Next one is 20 and 1. So I can see that every time that I go up, it's 20 units. Every time I go to the right, it's just 1 to the right. So I'm going to say that the rise over run gives me 20 up and 1 to the right. Okay? So with that in mind, I'm going to ask you to try to see if you can find more points on the graph. And more points, the only more points that I can find will be if I go the opposite direction. So opposite means that instead of going 20 up, I'm going to go 20 down. And instead of going 1 to the right, I'm going to actually go 1 to the left. And I'm going to land right at this point. So that point would be 0 and 40. Is that right? So what do you think 40 is? And some of the answers you can give me, of course, will be, Miss, that's the Y-intercept. And I agree with you, that's the Y-intercept. Because when x is 0, the other number becomes your Y-intercept. So what does that mean in terms of the problem? So 0 means 0 days. Is that right? And the cost, or the money that you're still paying, how much are you still paying for that? We're still paying $40. Why? Why is it that even though I haven't gone any days, right? I'm already thinking about paying $40. Well, there was such a thing of a car insurance, which is that initial charge. So it looks to me that $40 is going to be how much money you're going to pay for car insurance. Very good. This is your car insurance, which is considered your initial charge. This is where I'm going to start. We call it the initial, or we can say that's where I start. Is that right? So I'm going to start at $40. And then from there, I'm going to add up $20 every one day. So look at this, 20 up and 1 to the right. I do get to the next point. Is that right? Okay. But what about if I want to think algebraically? How would I solve the problem from the algebra point of view? Well, I need to find slope. Is that right? To find a slope, I need to use the formula for slope of a line, which says m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x of 1. And I can choose any of the points that were given to me earlier. So I'm going to choose 1 and 60. And the second point is going to be 2 and 80. Okay, let's write labels here. So this is x of 1, y sub 1, x of 2, and y sub 2. Let's circle these numbers. And let's use those in my formula. So y sub 2, it's 80 minus 60 over 2 minus 1. I'm using the numbers from the coordinates that I chose. 80 minus 60 gives me 20. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So notice how this number here, 20 over 1, is the same number that I found on the rise over run. Is that correct? Okay, good. So that means that the slope is going to be 20. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you're going to pay $20 every day. Okay, so you're going to pay $20 for each day. Okay, so what about the next step? What do I need to do next? Well, now I need to find, we'll put it right here, the Y-intercept. Let's see if you remember how to find the Y-intercept. So I am going to write down my equation of a line, which is y equals mx plus b. That is in slope-intercept form. I'm going to choose one of the points, and I can choose any of the points, okay? I can choose 4, 120, anything. I'm going to choose 2 and 80, okay? So 2 is x, and 80 is y. Very good. Let's replace those values. So y is going to be replaced with 80. How about m? We found it earlier, right? That was 20 right here. And x will be the point that goes with 80, which is 2 for x plus b. So this is 80 equals to 40 plus b. I need to leave b by itself, so I'm going to subtract 40 on both sides. 40 minus 40, it's 0, so it cancels out. And 80 minus 40, it is 40. So b is my y-intercept. So we'll write it down over here. But also, we always think about the y-intercept as being an initial amount. And in my problem, the initial amount was the initial charge for the car insurance. Okay, so my answer for this should be letter C.